Hello, everyone. I know it has been a while since I posted a video. I have been distracted with some things in my personal life. I'm still not employed. I'm still looking for jobs, but I have been doing some writing. I have hitting a stall with the first draft of Unity House, the novel I am working on, but it is sometimes good to step back from your creative projects so that you can look at them with fresh eyes and the inspiration can come a little easier when you start back up again. So, what this video is about is TBR. I haven't done one of these in quite a while, a few years actually, I think. And it's books that I would like to read for October spooky season. And it's quite a big stack. I'm probably not going to read all of these, but these are just some books that I've had on my shelf for a while, and I feel like Halloween season is a good time to finally crack them open. These are not necessarily horror books, not all of them at least, but they fit the season. So I'm just going to tell you about them. Here is the first one, and it's the book I'm actually reading right now. This is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, which is the sequel to Ninth House, which I read 2 years ago, I think. And that was actually my favorite book from Leigh Bardugo that I've read. I read The Familiar earlier this year, and while I like that, I still like Ninth House. This is the second book in the duology, and the premise is that there are these secret societies at Yale, and there are real societies like Skull and Bones, Scroll and Key, where the children of wealthy families go to make connections. But in the world of this novel, these secret societies have access to magic that they can use to, say, give themselves abilities like to communicate with the dead, to tell the future, to influence the stock market, that sort of thing. And the protagonist of this novel, this duology, is called Alex Stern. She's a troubled teen from California. She's not the kind of person you would ever expect to see at Yale in a million years, but she has the ability to communicate with ghosts, or greys as they are called in this world. This ability of Alex's to communicate with the dead attracts the attention of Lathe, which is the Ninth House, and that's the secret society at Yale that's charged with making sure the other secret societies don't fall out of line. They don't abuse their magic too much, you know. But something happens in the first book where her mentor Darlington gets sucked into hell, and she spends this whole book, and she and her team and the other people at Lathe, they are trying to open a portal to hell to get Darlington back. And I do really enjoy this series. I love the way magic is used. There's all these really interesting and colorful rituals. The atmosphere around the college is really well captured. Leigh Bardugo has really grown as a writer over the years since the Shadow and Bone series, and this is so fascinating because there's a lot of class commentary in it. There's a lot of history about Yale and about how these societies have abused the magic for their own benefit, not to help others. It's all about maintaining their own power. As one character puts it, it's so people who have everything already can get a little more. And I find this so wildly entertaining and so fascinating. And I do really love the character of Alex because she's so different than me, but I just admire her so much because she's thrust into this world that she never thought she was a part of, both in terms of magic and in terms of the Yale. And watching her adapt to it and using her wits and her grit to get through it is just so great, and I just love rooting for her. So I am about halfway finished with Hellbent. So that's one book. I am hopefully going to be finished with this by the end of September, and then I can read some of the other books in this stack for October. So that is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. The next book is The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. She is known for writing historical fiction, usually in the Victorian period or the turn of the 20th century. I've read two of her other books, The Fingersmith and The Paying Guests, both of which are excellent. The Fingersmith was actually made into a movie that was set in Korea in the 20th century, and that is really an excellent movie. This takes place in the 40s. This is about a doctor who goes to the crumbling mansion of an old family to take care of them, and this family is having trouble keeping track with the world that's changing so rapidly. Like I said, it's in the 40s, so I don't know if World War II is going to play into this. It probably will, but it's sort of like there are ghosts in the house, or maybe there aren't. We don't know. Like, the ghosts are haunting the family just as much as the changing world that they can't keep up with. And Sarah Waters is such a good writer, and this is the kind of premise she excels at. And this is a really good for Halloween season. It's a classic haunted house. It's kind of like Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor. I'm a big fan of those shows from Mike Flanagan. So, and like I said, Sarah Waters is such an incredible writer. She's so great with descriptions, just bringing the time period to life, and her characters are always so well realized. And I expect this to be excellent. So that is The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. So I just mentioned Haunting of Hill House, and another book I want to read this season is Shirley Jackson's Hangs a Man. This is one of her lesser known works. The only other novel of hers I've read is We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which is great. This is about this 17-year-old girl who lives with a domineering father. She wants to run away to college. She finally does, but when she gets there, she gets sort of enamored with one of her professors. And there's not a lot actually written in the blurb on the back, but it's based on the real life story of a girl who went missing from Bennington College, which I think is the same college that Donna Tartt, who wrote The Secret History, went to. And this sounds very interesting. I don't know much about this book, but I have the other things I've read from Shirley Jackson, so that is Hangs a Man. Next up, we have Fledgling by Octavia Butler. I have read two other books by Octavia Butler, Kindred and Dawn, and both of those were excellent. Octavia Butler had a tremendous amount of creativity and incredible skill as a writer. She is, in my opinion, one of the best American science fiction writers. And this one is about a young girl who wakes up in the woods, not really knowing who she is. Eventually, she realizes that she's a vampire, and she has to figure out her origins. This apparently has a lot of commentary about things like race, sex, gender, and those are always really interesting things to pair with stories about vampires. Earlier this year, I watched the first season of Interview with a Vampire, the AMC show adapted from the Anne Rice novel, and that was excellent. So I've been really vampire curious lately. I don't think I've watched or read anything about vampires in a long time, and vampires are always really interesting. So that is Fledgling by Octavia Butler. Next up, we actually have a duology, Immortality, a Love Story, and Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz. This is historical fiction that takes place in Edinburgh, Scotland in the 1800s. It's about a young girl who's an aspiring doctor. I don't think At least I'm not sure if they let women and girls study to be doctors back then. So she hooks up with some grave robbers to learn about anatomy. This is actually YA. I do like reading YA on occasion. And the author of this book, Dana Schwartz, is also the host of a podcast I like to listen to called Noble Blood, which is macabre stories about royalty throughout history. And hopefully I will enjoy these as much as I enjoy that podcast. So that is Immortality, a love story, and Anatomy, a love story. And next up, and lastly, we have If We Were Villains. This is a book you've probably heard a lot about if you've been on Book Talk or Bookstagram or BookTube. This is a Shakespearean murder mystery about a group of theater students. It's I've heard it's been called sort of like a poor man's version of The Secret History, but I do like The Secret History, and a good murder mystery is always good. I've heard some really good things about this book, and that's all I have to say about it. I find the premise really interesting, and I do love settings like this. This is such a great premise for Halloween. I haven't watched or read a Shakespeare play in a while, although I think my favorite Shakespeare play is Macbeth or Midsummer Night's Dream. So, yeah, hopefully I will enjoy this. So that is If We Were Villains. I think that's all I have for you guys today. I don't know when I'm gonna get to any of these. I'm gonna finish Hellbent first. Maybe I will finish it by this weekend and I can crack open another one of these. But yeah, I'm looking forward to these. I hope I at least enjoy some, or hopefully I enjoy all of these. And I hope you enjoy whatever you're reading. If you're reading anything interesting, please let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe and like this video. That's all I have for you. Try not to get murdered. Bye.